God, I want to go to the pub. I can't remember the last time I went. Not just for one drink, but the whole damn thing, where you're laughing with friends you've just met. God, I want to go to the pub, but we cannot go just yet. If Ireland can do it, then so can we. Let's not do something we will regret. I miss my favorite bartender and karaoke too. I miss the walk home just after 2. Although I'm gonna be honest, if I'm having a night, me and my friends, the bar is closing, we're getting in a cab, we're going to Denny's, I'm getting a Grand Slam and a milkshake, and then I'm going home. But lyrically, this just made more sense. And though I feel lonely and being home makes me blue, I do what I need to do. I want to go to the pub, but delivery and Star Trek TNG and playing The Witcher 3 and having a cup of tea with my baby will just have to do. Thank you.
Let's have another round of applause for Amanda Trapp. And welcome to Season 4, Episode 1 of The Last Sunday! It's so great to be here together in the theater, and strangely satisfying to be wearing pants in public. I don't know if you had the same experience, but you know, when the pandemic hit, first week, well, no, 2 weeks, probably a month of wearing sweatpants, okay, 3 months of wearing sweatpants was like awesome. But around month 5 or month 6 for me, it was like, you start looking up at your jeans, and when you're tall, you put your clothes like really high because you feel good about reaching for them, right? And you think, I remember you. It's kind of like that old nostalgia you get around a relationship from your school days, and you're like, I wonder what it would be like to just touch you again. And when you put them on, as I did today for the first time in 7 months, you kind of feel this new kind of humanity that you haven't felt for ages. Has anyone had that experience? Has anyone had? No, you're all still wearing sweatpants, right? Okay. Especially the people watching at home. Round of applause from the people here for the people watching via the live stream tonight. It's so nice to see people here and have people on the live stream. And for those people who I haven't met, either here or on the live stream, my name is Joel Bernbaum. I'm here from Some Theatre, and Some Theatre is so grateful to create and perform on this land, this complicated land, this land that is Treaty 6, the homeland of the Métis and many other nations. And tonight, not only are we connecting with Treaty 6, but we're connecting with other treaties and other unceded territories and other nations, traditional homelands of nations, around the country. And right now we're going to try something, thanks to Tori and Dean at 5x5 for all their work. We're going to try to see if we can say hello via the live stream to our partners in Prince Albert, Regina, and in North Battleford. Didn't see that coming, did you? Yeah. So shout out, what's up, Regina? How you doing tonight? Yeah, there they are. Regina, special thank you to the Fada Dance Studio in Regina. Great space there. How you doing, Prince Albert? Woo! It's great to have you, Roxanne and the gang, Spark Theatre in Prince Albert, and Battleford's community players going with the super goth look. How are you up there? Yes. Battleford's community players, we love you. Having some microphone issues tonight. Next month, we're going to hear how loud they cheer. But you just have to be louder when you can be. So another round of applause for all of our partners here. We want to connect the theater communities across the province, just like you've helped us connect with people here in Saskatoon. Who here has not been to a Last Sunday before? Yeah? Well, just so you know, what the event is comprised of is 4 parts. We have music, as you heard from the amazing Amanda Trapp. We have a rant, we have a brand new play, and then we have a hot seat interview. Everyone has their own favorite, or you can equally like all 4. That's okay, but that's what you're in for tonight. Emergency exits are at the back if you need to leave this building. If you need to emergency exit the live stream, just shut down your computer. Also a shout out to the Lyric Theatre in Swift Current. Gord and the gang at the Lyric are watching from the comfort of their own homes. So give a round of applause for Gord and the Lyric Theatre. I want to acknowledge, just before we go on to our next item on the menu, that we do have someone very special here tonight who took care of all the hosting duties for Last Sunday, Season 3, when he wasn't handing out mail, and then artistic directing La Troupe du Jour. Bruce McKay, thank you for your service. Yeah. So without further ado, let's move on to the rant portion of the evening. For those of you that have been to a Last Sunday before, I did ask who hasn't been here before. Who's been to a Last Sunday before? Yeah, nice to see you back. Repeat offenders are very important to the theater. The rant is the most unpredictable element on the menu. We've had people come up and spit cinnamon hearts into the audience. We're hoping that doesn't happen tonight for several different reasons. However, we do give all of our artists full permission to respond to the current events of the now, whether it's locally, nationally, or internationally, in any way they choose. So please put your hands together and welcome our first ranter of the season, my friend and yours, Manuela Valle-Castro, who also goes by Comandante Castro, for the first rant of season 4. Manuela.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. Today is only like the most important day of my entire life and of my whole generation, to tell you the truth. I'm Chilean, and I was born in 1974, so a year after our presidential palace was bombed with the support of the USA in 1973, that killed our democratically elected socialist president Allende. So I was born a year after that, went with my parents into exile, came back, grew up in a dictatorship that lasted 17 years, meaning 17 years in which political parties were banned, unions were banned, no elections, obviously, dictatorship, right? And we got out of that dictatorship because the people went out in the streets and demanded that we had a referendum, which we had in 1988, and we kicked the dictator out. However, we couldn't change the constitution that he had written in 1980, which really established the most exploitative and predatory system that we have now. I grew up with that, and I was very disappointed, and then I decided to migrate here. Until last year, the students, secondary students, not even university students in Chile, secondary students, teenagers, mostly girls, they decided that enough was enough. And they paralyzed the country, and they brought the government to their knees and demanded that we had a referendum to change the constitution that Pinochet wrote in 1980. That referendum was today. And I am a Chilean citizen. I'm a permanent resident here. So I would have had to go vote in Vancouver, something really ridiculous. So I couldn't vote. But my heart was there, and I was stuck to the radio. And so far, the national predictions, the tendency is 80% for a new constitution and 20% for rejecting it. So I'm actually on my way to a celebration. I wanted to show you. I'm bringing my flags, but not a Chilean flag. The Chilean flag has horrible connotations for me. I associate it with the military, with nationalism, with demands for being unity and not diverse and other things that I stand for. So I don't bring a Chilean flag. I bring my Mapuche flag, which is one of the main indigenous groups that live in Chile, because we understand that to get rid of this inhumane system, we also have to decolonize ourselves. There's my Mapuche flag, and then I also bring my feminist flag, because the new constitution and the country that I want to, the society that I want for my country, it's feminista, right? So, yes, so it is honestly, I'm just here to tell you, don't take for granted your democracy. Don't be a jerk and say voting doesn't change anything. I'm such a rebel, I'm so woke, I can't even vote because the options are so boring. Well, if the options are boring, go riot and do something different. Dare to dream that we can do things different, because we can. And your apathy and your pessimism, it's part of the problem. So please don't take your vote lightly. Your vote can change everything. And let's please dare to dream that we can do something different here, and we're not stuck between option bad and option less bad. Okay? It doesn't have to be like that. Can we dream a little bit? Just look at South America, what we're doing. I was a little bit nervous because I'm not a spoken word person, more like an agitator. But yes, I think that's what I wanted to say, that I'm here to tell you that you need to get off your ass and vote you need to vote them out. You need to vote out the people that are doing harm to our communities, the people that are not supporting what our communities need, the people that is it still normal that out of 100 women that are in prison, 95 are indigenous? That sits well with you? It doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. And I don't think it's because indigenous people are, fucked. I don't think I think this is all perpetrated, and we have the opportunity to change it. And if we don't, shame on us. But again, I can't vote. So I can only get on the soapbox and tell you to vote. Please, please vote. And if you don't like the options again, please, can you support other options and see what's happening in the community? The people, I look around this room and honestly, I feel humbled by, Prairie harm reduction, the work that they have done without a fucking cent from this province. Saving lives in the middle of an opioid crisis. We saw Tristan Durasher fasting 44 days to bring attention to the epidemic of youth suicide, only to be met with complete dismissal, hostility, eviction for a suicide prevention strategy. Can we please vote these fuckers out? The golfers, the oil suckers, we don't need them. And I don't know if this is allowed in this rant, but I guess I just said it. But yeah, and if you don't like what I'm saying, well, find your own microphone and get here and we'll argue and have a discussion. Because this oppressive culture that you can't have any differences of opinion or it's inappropriate or rude has to go too. We're gonna change it. That's old Canadian culture. The new one looks like this. Has accents, it's loud, and doesn't give a fuck. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Comandante Manuela. If her rant wasn't enough to implore you to vote, I'll have you know I did vote in the advance polls. Has anyone else gone to the advance polls? Yes? Yes, good for you for voting, exercising your rights, standing up for democracy. You also get a free pencil. This year only. Did anyone opt to keep the pencil out there? Yes? Yes, a few people. Yes, yes. Smart call, smart call. So Saskatchewan democracy, hard at work, free pencils for all, for all. Let's bring back out our musician for the evening, Amanda Trapp. Round of applause, Amanda. Amanda, can you tell us first, before you tell us about yourself, tell us what you've got there that you're playing.
Yes, okay, so this is called an auto harp. I picked it up because I fell in love with Dolly Parton and June Carter Cash when I was in high school, and I drove from Regina to Prince Albert to buy my first auto harp off of Kijiji, and then I've been in love with it ever since.
Awesome, awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about the first song that you played for us this evening and where that impulse came from?
Yes, so when I was asked to do this a couple weeks ago, there was stories floating around about people going out dancing to the clubs, to the Long Branch and Divas and stuff, and I wanted to write a song to plead and sympathize with that desire to go out and dance and feel that, but we can't do it just yet. Those days will. It's an ode to those days, and the days will come back. We just have to be patient. Patience is a great word to remember in these times. And what do you have for us now? So this next song is called Your City. As I'm sure we're all aware of, there's a municipal election coming up, and there's a moment in the mayoral debate that really stuck with me. One of the candidates said something along the lines of, "A downtown is the face of a city, and we have an ugly face," which just really saddened me, because they were referring to the people of downtown who are struggling with things that we should be helping them at a greater level at. And those are human beings, they're loved ones, they're my aunties, my cousins, other people's aunties and cousins. And I was just struck with the frustration that we keep wanting to put things out of sight and out of mind. And I think homelessness is something that can happen to any of us. And I know I've seen it come close in my own life. And so this next song I wrote from the perspective of maybe the day will still come when I struggle with homelessness, but this is the perspective of me in that position.
Thanks, Amanda. From the mayoralty debates to the last Sunday, here's a brand new song from Amanda Trapp.
go past me with your eyes to the ground. I know I look frightening. You think my mind's unsound, but isn't yours? Oh, isn't yours? You're accumulating unhappiness, thinking wealth will set you free. It's just a minus 40 version of the American dream. I am the face of your city. You may think I'm not that pretty, but I am real. Oh, I am real. I have to be perfect to deserve a bed to lie. Any faults in my past and now you'll use to disqualify my right to be alive. Push me to the fringes to deceive your children and you. That society is just and fair and that the good get their due. It's a lie. It's a lie. I am the face of your city. You may think I'm not that pretty, but I am real. Oh, I am real. I am the face of your city. You may think I'm not that pretty, but I am real. Oh, I am real. Live through what I've been through. You'd be here too. Thank you.
Social distance, Amanda Trapp on the auto harp. So if we can go to Regina, Dean, we'd like to check in with Judy and the gang at Some Theatre Regina, who are watching at the Fata Dance Studios. Thanks to Amber at Neutral Ground, as well as Marion Donnelly for helping out set up. There they are in Regina. What's up, Regina? Now, everyone at Some Theatre Regina has been filling out cards as they walked into the Fata Dance Studios talking about answering the question, what is the hottest issue in Regina? So, Judy, are you there? Can you tell us what some of the people in Regina are thinking about and feeling about today?
Hey, Joel. Hey, everybody in Saskatoon and elsewhere in the province. We're so happy to be joining you in this way. And when everyone gathered here, I was walking in tonight, I asked them the question, just as Joel said, what is the most pressing issue facing Regina? And here is what my fine friends here decided to share. Not enough empathy, racism, unaware racism, disconnect, people keeping their blinders on, racism and lack of action and leadership to combat racism, lethargy, poverty and neglect, and rigidity. These are our most pressing issues.
Wow, Judy, we don't have any of those here in Saskatoon. You should just take a drive up the 11, and we're super flexible, not rigid at all, and no racism.
That's milk and honey.
Great to have you. A round of applause for everyone that gathered at Fata Dance in Regina. We'll be checking in with North Battleford and PA in future months and future episodes. And hopefully down the road, maybe we'll have a musician from one of those cities, a ranter from one of those cities, playwrights and actors from one of those cities, as we work to try to create a network, create a space of community across this province. And we could not do this without generous support from our public funders. So the biggest round of applause of all goes to the Canada Council for the Arts, SaskArts, or SCARTs as I like to call them, and the City of Saskatoon, who give us money to do what we do. Round of applause for those funders. Additionally, one more special mention before we get to the play, so if the actors can start making their way to the stage. There is one individual out there, he's watching from the live stream tonight, who made the live stream possible. And I'm talking about Dr. David Edney. For those people that don't know Dr. David Edney believes in theater and he believes in big ideas. And so we knew we had to do a live stream to make the last Sunday accessible to people that didn't feel comfortable coming in person to the theater as you did tonight. But then we got thinking, what if we had sponsorship to be able to do a live stream and connect in this way, as we just heard from some theater in Regina, to communities across the province? How great would it be not only to connect with them, but to involve them in making art, and eventually down the road, not only will we have them producing and creating art for the last Sunday, but how great would it be if we could tour each other's work to the cities around the province? Not the model where the big theater takes their show out to the provinces, but rather a network of collaborations where we can take shows to them and they can bring shows to us. So David, I know you're watching from home. Thank you for believing in us, for believing in theater, and for believing in big ideas. A round of applause for David Edney. The next item on the menu is what we like to call the crown jewel of the evening, the brand new play. The newest play in the world, I would argue, unless there's someone writing a new play in Battleford, PA, or Regina right now. Here's the thing. We have given a playwright the assignment to write a 10-minute play in response to the current events of the month. This month, that playwright is none other than Yvette Nolan. And I felt very, very, very humbled by Yvette's willingness to write this play, and very, very blown away by Yvette's star power when I was taking a walk by the river yesterday, and someone called out to me, "Hey, last Sunday's back." And I said, "Yeah, great." And they said, "Did you know Yvette Nolan is writing the play?" And I was like, "Yeah, I heard." So, Yvette, you know you're big when people are calling out that down by the river. Let's welcome the actress to the stage for Yvette Nolan's brand new play, hopefully the newest play in the world, Just Breathe.
Fold the ballot in half. Place the ballot in the envelope. There's 3 envelopes.
The smallest one.
Makes sense.
There's visual assistance on this side of this paper.
Seal it.
Joe,
What?
don't lick it.
Oh, right. Put the envelope in
In the next envelope.
Sign it and certify the outside. Seal it. Put this envelope.
Into this envelope. It's almost like they don't want you to vote.
I just feel bad for all the people who have to open all these envelopes inside these envelopes inside the envelopes.
Especially if all the COVID voters licked their envelopes.
Oh.
Don't worry. It will be at least 72 hours before anyone except the postie touches those envelopes.
If it even gets there.
What do you mean? Address, postage, and I see the postie every day.
In Vancouver, the smoke was so bad that the postal service did not deliver for days.
That was Vancouver in the summer. next door to fires in California.
And Oregon.
And Oregon.
And Washington.
Yeah. The point is, this is Saskatoon in the deep, dark days of autumn.
What about a blizzard?
Joe, there will be no natural disaster that will keep your ballot from getting delivered.
How can you be so sure, Taylor?
I just am.
How can you be so sure about anything? I am not sure about anything anymore. I am not sure if I will have a job in 6 months, or I am not sure if my racing heart is anxiety or a heart attack, or if the pain in my leg is blood clot because I am a long hauler.
Joe!
I am not sure I will ever see my mom again.
Okay now, you have to breathe. Not like a rabbit, like a lion. Good. You know, my yoga teacher said we are all breathing up here. And we all have to work to breathe all the way down.
You went to yoga?
Online yoga. I do online yoga. Breathe. She said we have to do things to calm the nervous system because we're all living in high anxiety. Now breathe.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Taylor.
What you doing?
Just voted and now we're breathing.
Provincial or municipal?
That bad, eh? That tough, eh?
That was my provincial ballot.
Ah.
Where's my municipal ballot?
Joe, just breathe.
How'd you vote? NDP?
None of your business.
You didn't vote for the status quo, did you? For a couple of nickels thrown at your power bill? Or you're not diabetic, are you?
No.
Why?
Expanding the insulin pump program benefits maybe 400 people. So you did vote Sask Party.
A person's vote is private.
Joe?
I have a mother
Well, lucky you.
Danny.
in a long-term care facility.
You did! You voted Sask Party!
If the government is going to hire more long-term care aides,
You voted for the status quo.
You what? Give me that.
Joe, Taylor! A person's vote is sacrosanct. Who do you think you are? The POTUS?
we need a strong recovery plan if we're going to come back from this virus.
These are all Band-Aid solutions. The system is broke.
Danny-
Broke.
Danny, I think you need to breathe.
The NDP committed to care aids to you, Joe, and doctors. Doctors would be good. My doctor quit in the middle of the pandemic, and the only 2 doctors taking patients in Saskatoon are not appropriate.
Wrong gender?
No, I don't care about gender. But one lost his license for 9 months for sexual inappropriateness, and the other is an evangelical.
Like a faith healer?
No, he's a real MD, but I just like to keep my religion and my science separate.
Do you have a religion, Chris?
No. Anyway, I'll vote for more doctors, for better health care.
This is crazy. Having an election in the middle of a pandemic, everyone pretending nothing is going on, pretending the economy is going back to normal, pretending fossil fuels are the way to grow the economy.
Pretending Indigenous folks aren't there.
Oh yeah, pretending we can wave a magic wand and give everyone health care.
Hey, Greens say they will expand provincial coverage to include all health services, including dental, optical, mental health,
So, are you voting
as well
green?
as complementary and alternative healing practices.
Really?
So, who are you voting for, Danny? If you're not voting for the economy and you're not voting for healthcare.
I'm not voting. Didn't you hear me? The system is broke.
How is that helping? Not voting at all?
How is voting helping? Nobody is addressing the things I care about. Justice, equity, reconciliation, environment, climate change, the arts.
The arts?
No mention of the arts in any of the election platforms.
Well, Danny, the arts aren't exactly...
It's not exactly a burning election issue.
Why though? Why isn't it a burning election issue?
Well, we are in the middle of a pandemic.
People are dying, businesses are closing, and the arts is
Don't
just...
say luxury. Don't say frill.
Yeah, the only mention of arts I can find is $150 a year per child, or $200 for a child with a disability to cover the cost of participating in sports, arts, or cultural activities.
Wow.
Oh, and the NDP say they value the importance of the things that make life good, including the arts, culture, sport, and time with family and friends.
Oh, well, that's a comfort.
You have to admit, Danny, that in the middle of a pandemic, the arts are not really a priority.
Oh, really, Taylor? And what did you do throughout the lockdown? Joe? Chris?
I watched Netflix.
And the National Theatre.
Opera at the Met. Dialogues of the Carmelites. What?
So you like to keep religion and science apart, but you're okay with religion and art?
It's about revolution and being martyred for what you believe in.
Remember the opera singer on the balcony in Italy?
Nessun Dorma?
Never mind Italy. That Symphony Toronto, I think really early figuring out how to play together and put it on YouTube.
Appalachian Spring, TSO. Yeah, that was March 22nd. Then the Martha Graham dancers danced to it.
Really? I didn't know that.
Blue Rodeo and hundreds of Canadians doing Lost together. And if we're lost,
Then
we are lost together.
Oh, hey guys, I don't think we're supposed to sing.
Watched a lot of musicians online.
Kathleen Edwards,
Alyssa Cara?
Bublé and the Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh yeah, with that Mexican singer.
Yeah, Sofia Reyes.
Lizzo? What?
Oprah and Lizzo.
Lizzo is a classically trained flautist.
I watched a lot of bad plays.
But you watched them.
Always hoping they would be good.
Just like in the theater. Every time the lights go down, hoping.
Sometimes they weren't bad, just Zoom, you know? The point is, in the middle of a global pandemic, you went to the arts for comfort. To film, to music, to theater. You watched bad plays. You watched people isolated from each other, making art together. And who will be the last to come back in this brave new world? Don't tell me the arts are a luxury. The arts has kept us breathing through this.
Guys? Guys? The news is saying there could be a snap federal election.
Joe, just breathe.
Shit.
Just breathe. Just Breathe by Yvette Nolan, directed by Judith Schultz, featuring Megan Zong, Yulissa Campos, Joshua Beaudry, and Cheryl Jack. Round of applause for the actors. We're thrilled to partner every month with the Saskatchewan Playwrights Centre to create that play, to commission that play, create that play, cast that play. So if you're interested, if you're listening out there, or if you're here tonight and haven't heard of the services the Sask Playwrights Centre offers, get in touch with them. Their website, saskplaywrights.ca, Sask Playwrights Centre. Would anyone like one more song from Amanda Trapp? Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
What would you have done if they said no?
Well, I guess I'll go home then.
Just auto harp smash. Okay. One more song from Amanda Trapp.
Thank you. I wanted to end the set with optimism, and no matter how hard I tried, I could not write it myself. So I have to turn to another author here, and he's rather a successful, very famous one. But this song is the glimmer of hope that I needed to hear, and it's a very sort of complex, murky hope, but I hope somebody else will need to hear it too. This is No One Is Alone by Stephen Sondheim. Mother cannot guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you.
Still, you're not alone. No one is alone. Truly, no one is alone. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Others may deceive you. You decide what's good. You decide alone. But no one is alone. Mother isn't here now. Who knows what she'd say? Nothing's quite so clear now. Feel you've lost your way. You are not alone. Believe me, no one is alone. Truly, you move just a finger. Say the slightest word. Something's bound to linger. Be heard. No one acts alone. Careful, no one is alone. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes. Holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes. Everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right, giants can be good. You decide what's right, you decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on our side, someone else is not. While we're seeing our side, maybe we forgot they are not alone. No one is alone. Hard to see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will come out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. No one is alone. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Another round of applause for Amanda Trapp. The idea for the last Sunday came around 4 years ago, and I'll tell you why, and it's fitting that we're back with season 4. A certain president was elected, and at some theater we were having a hard time, like a few other people, grappling with that election result. And we thought maybe if we had a monthly opportunity to come together and connect through the arts and just be together processing current events through the voice of Amanda Trapp or the plays of Yvette Nolan, that perhaps when things happen that are a little difficult for us to deal with on our own, that the artistic experience created by artists in this province will help us get through that. So I hope that tonight and in future months when you join us, you have a little bit of that lubricant of the heart, feeling like you're not alone dealing with whether it's the local or national or the election results of another country coming up on your screen and over your radio. And maybe we can share the digestion of current events together through the artistic process. Thanks to those that have chimed in over social media and on email. A shout out to Fred in Nova Scotia. It's kind of neat. Our live streaming allows us to reach across the country. As I said at the beginning of the program, we believe in relationships in every way. And speaking of Nova Scotia, it's important for us to mention, for those people that have been following the stories about the Mi'kmaq fishermen and fisherwomen, fisher people, we stand in solidarity with the Mi'kmaq people, and we are against the horrible violence that they've had to deal with. So let's hope we can bring an end to that horrible situation and move forward in a good way. Last but not least this evening, we have the hot seat interview. We call it the hot seat interview because we rig a heating pad in the chair in advance of the show, and it slowly warms the interviewee's buttocks as the interview goes on. Unfortunately, last time we screwed it up and it was on my chair. But no, jokes aside, it's a hot seat interview because no matter what the issue is, we need to hear all sides of it. And so whether it's someone that we know very closely who's been in the news or someone we don't know at all, we invite them to come and get to know them and tell us a little bit about them, and also tell us about the work they're doing, and we get a chance to ask them questions. So both out here in the audience and at our remote locations via live stream, have a think of the questions you might want to ask our hot seat interview subject, Mr. Jason Mercredi. Jason, thanks for joining this evening.
Thanks for having me.
First off, as I said, we like to get to know you before we get to know the work you do, and very important work you're doing. Don't want to belittle it all, but do want to talk about you personally, and oftentimes the best way to get to know someone is through food. And so popcorn aside, what's your favorite vegetable?
Cucumbers.
Cucumbers?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Oh, well, they're crunchy, they're delicious. It's like eating a glass of water.
95% water.
Yeah.
Instant kidney cleanser.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that song, check it out. It's a wicked tune on reggae tune on YouTube. Jason, you're the executive director of Prairie Harm Reduction.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and it used to be Aid Saskatoon.
Yeah, we rebranded this summer, so it was a couple of years in the making, but we thought it was the right thing to do, and we are getting a lot of complaints from people who access services with us. They didn't feel comfortable coming into a building that had AIDS on the front of it, and so we thought it was a good time to rebrand. Plus, when we're looking at what's happening in the province, we thought we needed to be upfront with what we're doing. We need a little bit of swagger, and we need that prairie pride, and so we view that we're very proud that we're from the prairies. We're very proud that we're harm reductionists, and we got big plans for what we're going to be doing in this province.
Thanks for sharing that. Now, how did you come up with the name? You alluded to it a little bit about your prairie roots, but how did you come up with the name Prairie Harm Reduction?
Probably like 2 minutes, and what should we call it? And I think Kayla, our associate director, was like, I don't know, harm reduction something. And then I think I was like, yeah, maybe Prairie. And then Julia said, I said coalition or something, and she said, drop the coalition, and it took about 10 seconds.
Coalitions are very 90s.
Yeah,
You don't really want,
so we're just Prairie Harm Reduction clean. Yeah.
And how's the feedback been so far since the rebrand?
It's been amazing. We launched an online store as part of our effort to fund our consumption site, and we've sold out of our clothing. For the most part, we got a new line coming out in a couple weeks. We've done something that I think people thought impossible, which was we made harm reduction a fashion statement on the prairies. People want to be associated with us. People want to be associated with our work. They like our brand of advocacy, which is basically talk a lot of shit and take no shit. And it seems to be working out for us because communities backed us way more than we were expecting.
So you went from an organization that people were afraid to walk in the doors because of stigma to having a clothing line with your name all over it that's selling out across the province?
Yeah, we're selling out across North America, to be honest. I think we've had 600 sales since we launched, and we're expecting to sell out our Christmas line, because our designs are fire. Like, to be honest, they're really good. And so we're expecting our next line to sell out pretty quick.
Not a bad sort of rebrand, really, to be honest. We have time for questions, so let those percolate in your head, both live audience members here and live audience members elsewhere. Jason, before we go on, can we just talk a little bit about the basics of what Prairie Harm Reduction does? In a sentence, what's the most important thing that Prairie Harm Reduction does?
We give people a space that they can feel safe in, they can feel supported in, and they can be themselves in.
And why is that important?
Because, we heard about it through the song. There's a lot of people that are really loud, but I think there's a small number of them that are saying people who have addictions, people who have chronic mental health, people who are living with homelessness, they don't belong in this community. And our response is a resounding, fuck you, yes they do.
Not only... Okay, so it sounds like you have some people in the audience that agree with you, but like I said, we always like to play the counterpoint. So what do you say to the argument, because you do hear this out there, why should we be paying for a space for people who can't take care of themselves, who can't get it together?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of stigma to unpack in the phrasing of that question. And so basically I'd say you're already paying for it under the current system. And I think you could ask people on any side of the aisle, any political spectrum, is what we're doing working? I think you're going to get a resounding no. We have record number of overdoses that are piling up month over month. We had 230 people die of an overdose between January and the end of April. Those numbers are not getting better as the year goes on. We lead the country in HIV infections. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to look around this community and see that we do not have well-supported mental health or housing or addiction services. And at this point in time, we're paying for it. So people who use injection drugs, for instance, cost the healthcare system in Saskatoon alone $3.2 million in hospitalizations. That's not including offshoots where they can get support in places like Sanctum Care Home or anything like that. That's just in hospital. They're costing them that. Plus every HIV infection, which we lead the country in HIV infection rates. We're the only place in Canada that the reason for HIV infection, the main reason for HIV infections is through shared drug equipment. Every one of those infections is $1.3 million over the course of their lifetime. Research has shown that a consumption site based off limited hours, which we're operated on, can prevent 15 new HIV infections a year. That's a cost savings of over $18 million a year that we can produce, not to mention the people we keep out of hospitals and the people we connect to additional services like housing and addiction support, mental health support. So we're already paying for it. The system clearly doesn't work. It doesn't matter who you talk to. Everybody agrees the system doesn't work. We have a harm reduction model right now in Saskatchewan that is really focused on the abstinence-only addiction, addiction treatments facilities. Not everybody's ready for that.
Well, and it's clear that there's millions of dollars to be saved.
Yeah.
But then you still hear out there, you still hear these comments, why should I help them if they can't help themselves? Like, just strictly not wanting to help someone because they can't, pull up their bootstraps.
Yeah, so I think that is a ridiculous statement. When you're looking at, if that's the case, then how would you go about helping them, right? So how would you? Would you provide them adequate mental health support? Because I got a 6-month waiting list to get one of my clients in. One. We have over 1,200 clients.
Has this come up in the election to your satisfaction?
I think it came up the leadership debate. We heard that the NDP were going to fund us. We heard the Sask Party considering it. At this point in time, we think it's a no-brainer. The community thinks it's a no-brainer. Since we announced what we were doing, we've had 1,000 individual donors. We have constant people dropping off food. We have people asking how they can help. We have people begging us to go down to Regina. We have people asking us to go to the eastern side of the province, the western side, northern regions, to open up consumption sites there. So at our point, this shouldn't be a side of the aisle issue. These are people's lives, and this shouldn't be up for debate. People living should not be up for debate. This is not a morality issue. This is a life or death issue. And your delicate sensibilities don't override my right to live.
What would you say to those politicians that you feel, and I'm assuming here, but haven't made a commitment to continue the work that you're doing?
It's a no-brainer. You need to fund us. Like we need to be funded, not just us, but when we're looking at Regina, they clearly need a consumption site in Regina. This is not going away. And if you don't have legal consumption sites like we've invested in, you're going to have illegal ones popping up in your park, in your legislative park. You're going to have them popping up in Kiwanis, like Mowasin. Do you want these sites popping up there? Or do you want a controlled environment that we can actually connect people and services? Because at the end of the day, people have a right to live, and you can't tell us that we have to go underground because we're done being underground.
Why is it so bad right now?
You know, the COVID threw a thing for the world for a loop, closed off borders, drug supplies changed dramatically. But that's just part of it. There's research that goes back a decade plus talking to people, leading experts in Saskatchewan saying, get ready, get ready, get ready. We were planning, we bought and renoed and announced the consumption site before COVID hit. This wasn't a fucking accident. Like, we knew this was coming. We know what we're doing. I've done countless policy work for this government, and I can't tell you how much more research I put into this project than any other project I've done, any other written piece of policy I've written for the government. We knew this was coming. This is not an accident. Now we're here. And inaction is so reminiscent of what happened in the 1980s with the AIDS crisis. We had morality, we had this debate, and you know what it took to actually get action?
What?
It took people going in the streets.
Right.
It took people ready to riot, to make these things happen and saying, fuck you, we have a right to live. We need that response now. People have a right to live, and because somebody says, I shouldn't help you live, fuck you. You don't have to help them. We're willing to. We just want to get paid so that I can afford my staff there, because we're working crazy hours right now. If I calculated how much we got paid per hour, it'd be cents on the dollar. We put in countless hours of overtime to make this happen. You know, and at the end of the day, we just want to be able to pay a professional to offer it, because if I can't pay a professional, then we're pulling in a volunteer. And the level of training, the level of support, all the things that people say they want to see in one of these sites, the oversight won't be there. And so if your issue is that we won't have professionals, it won't be an well-operated site, or you're worried that it's going to cause all these issues in the community, then fund us to do it. Why is the police chief supporting us? Why are 5 out of 6 mayoral candidates supporting us? Because they know this is a no-brainer. When you're actually in the community that these things are happening, everybody says it's a no-brainer. You're not going to arrest your way out of the problem. This is the second police chief in a row we've had say that. Now the police chief in Regina is even talking like that. They're saying, yeah, we need to look at a consumption site down here. There's mayoral candidates, citywide candidates down there, ward candidates that are saying that they need to look at a citywide harm reduction strategy with potential multiple harm reduction sites. But yet we can barely get the health authority to pay for needle pickup in the neighborhood.
Wow. Wow. What a contrast. We've got time for a few questions. Anyone in the Saskatoon audience? We'll get the other audiences up on the screen here if we can. Dean, thank you kindly. Anyone have a question for Jason from the Saskatoon audience? Yes, sir.
Obviously, donating money is something that would be awesome for you, but besides straight up, here's some cash, what can the community do to help your cause?
I'm just going to repeat the question, Jason, just so folks around the province and the country can hear. The question was, if I'm not mistaken, in addition to donating money, what is something that could be done by people in this community to help your cause?
I think the biggest thing is getting involved and getting educated. That seems really hard during COVID. But one of the biggest things you can do right now is you can get training on an naloxone kit. And so we provide that training for free. We provide the kit for free. Right now, we're the only place in the province, we're the only organization in the province that if you want a naloxone kit, we will provide one free of charge for you.
And just walk us through what's a naloxone kit.
A naloxone kit is an overdose reversal drug. Okay, so if you're overdosing on opioids, you can give somebody, administer naloxone on somebody if you have the proper training, and they won't die as a result. And if you think that you're not going to come across this, we just reposted a Facebook thing maybe 2 hours ago about a woman in Regina who was driving down the street. She saw somebody overdosing. She pulled over. She administered naloxone, and she actually saved that person's life. We need to normalize the talk around addictions. We need to normalize the talk around the overdoses in the community, because they're no longer happening in the stairwells. They're happening behind law offices. Like, they're happening downtown. They're happening in parks. And if you think this isn't going to affect you, if you have kids or you know somebody in high school, kids in high school nowadays, they're not smoking weed. Well, yeah, they are, but that's not all they're doing. They're taking Xanax. They're taking Dilaudid. And so those drugs are often street drugs that are laced with fentanyl or carfentanil, which is going to cause them to die. So we need to normalize the talk around addictions. And the best way you can do is get a naloxone kit, tell people that you carry a naloxone kit, and then that way you're much better prepared for, sadly, what's going to be an inevitability in this city, which is somebody overdosing on a corner if we can't expand our consumption site hours.
Thank you for the question. Any questions from Regina, Prince Albert, or North Battleford? More questions live here in Saskatoon? Someone in Regina.
Hi, thank you. Can I ask you, Jason, Regina does need one, so give us the first 3 hot tips as a citizen here. What should we do?
Just open one up, get a tent, get a propane heater, throw one down, and get some naloxone kits. If you can't get them, drive up here, we'll give you as much as you need. Like, we need to go guerrilla with this movement. Systems and organizations are taking way too long to get their fucking shit together. And if they're not gonna do it, then we have to do it as community members.
Any other, thank you for the question, Chris and Regina. Follow-up question there, Chris, or anyone else?
One more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more thing. You said there was mayoral candidates down here who are talking about this. I haven't heard that. Would you tell us who that is?
Well, I can't remember their names. I'm so embroiled with the provincial and our city election. But,
That's okay. That's okay.
He's got 2 jobs, really, because he's pushing swag half the time and saving people's lives the other half the time. Yeah. Other questions from our partners in the other cities? Questions live here? Yes?
Based off that last question, then, in Saskatoon, you mentioned that you had support from most of the mayoral candidates, with the exception of one.
Just to repeat the question so everyone can hear it in the different locations, someone in the front here asking, there's 5 candidates that are saying it's a good idea to support Prairie harm reduction. We don't know whether they've bought t-shirts yet, but they are saying they have. Yeah. Anybody will buy anything during an election, right? The 6th candidate, someone's wondering who that candidate is?
yeah, so the only one we haven't heard from officially yet is Don Atchison, but he did come tour with the facility the other week. So, you know, I'm sure he's just getting a policy paper. At least that's what we hope together. Yeah, policy position.
Thanks. Time for one last question. Yes. Just to repeat the question, you've applied for lots of funds from the provincial government. Do they always turn you down? What's the relationship between the provincial government and funding and you?
Yeah, so I'd say we haven't applied for lots of funding. We've applied for 0.00003% of total new spending in this upcoming election that's been promised. So we've applied for a fraction of spending. But they turned us down for that. They gave us money for 2 caseworkers. And the provincial government funds our outreach services, but I think we're pretty overloaded, to be honest. And so part of what we really need is this consumption site funded. And so, you know, we're in talks with a lot of different organizations, but we get funding from all over the map. Saskatoon Community Foundations are big supporters of ours. United Way are big supporters of ours. You know, we even get funding from places like MAC Cosmetics, who are actually have been funding us for like a decade. And so we get funding from all over the map. The rule of a nonprofit is beg, borrow, steal. And so, you know, we're pretty crafty about getting it. So far, we've just about hit our fundraising goal to run our consumption site for the remainder of the year. Now we're looking at expanding hours. And so we're in talks with some funders about potentially expanding hours, but because the biggest complaint we get right now is why can't you be open till midnight? So,
well, with all the work you're doing, the hours you put in, the roadblocks that you come up against, what keeps you going?
Caffeine and anger, to be honest. I think, like, if you follow us on social media, we don't pull punches. It's incredibly frustrating to be called from a mother whose kid died, to be asked what they can do to help us. Yeah, I'm like gonna cry. Like, it's very, very frustrating.
Thank you for the work you do.
Yeah.
Jason Mercredi. Thank you so much for being here live this evening at the Broadway Theatre. Thanks to the Broadway Theatre for having us. Thanks to 5x5, Dean and Tori, for awesome work getting our live stream sorted out. Thanks to Some Theatre Regina for gathering at Fata Dance. Lots of love to you, Regina. Prince Albert, thanks for joining Spark Theatre. Yeah, it's like New Year's Eve. We just need the balls to drop. Yeah. Stay Black in North Battleford there. You look awesome. We're looking forward to hearing from you next time. Great to have the connection North Battleford, Swift Current, and people across the country. We have a long-standing some theater tradition that I'm going to talk about in a second. But I will encourage you, if you enjoyed your experience, if you were engaged, maybe enjoyed isn't the word, if you were engaged tonight in this experience, think about visiting Some Theater's website and learning more about the work we do. Think about becoming a monthly donor. We don't believe in subscriptions. We don't even believe in tickets. We let you come in. We let you come in. Hey, you're here! North Battleford, Battleford's community players, ladies and gentlemen. That's called the power of a reveal, right? They made us wait for it in Battleford. We love you, Battleford. We love you. We love you. I'm looking forward to having them back again, everyone back again next month. What I was going to say, though, is we don't believe in charging tickets for the work that we do. We believe in offering it completely free. We do that because of public funders. We do that because of partnerships with people like David Edney and the David Edney Fund for Theatre, but also because of your donations. By making a donation to Some Theatre, not only do you make it free for you, you make the art free for everyone. We are a charitable organization, so every month, if you make a donation on our monthly donation page through Canada Helps, you get a feel-good message on your bank statement saying, I helped out make theater free for everyone. So I encourage you to feel good every month with us. Last but not least, it's a long-standing Some Theatre tradition since our very first Theatre in the Park that at the end of every show, we ask you to shake hands with someone who you've never met. We're going to stop that tradition. However, it is a little sad during COVID that it seems scary to even say hello to someone because we haven't quite figured out how to do that. I've tried, as I'm walking down the street during COVID, even when I'm wearing a mask, to say hi to people, and it's kind of like you say boo, right? The reaction is, what are you doing? So we have to just get better at connecting. And right now, you are sitting in a socially distanced way, wherever you are. And so before you leave the theater tonight, turn and face someone you've never looked in the eye before. The eye contact, the heart-to-heart contact is more important than the shaking hands anyway. So turn and look at someone, say hi. If you want to have a conversation, that's great too. If you don't do that, we do judge you. So that's on you. But thanks for being here for the last Sunday. Join us back here the last Sunday of November. Bring a friend. We are Some Theatre.